She walked into his house at 2 a.m. She never walked out alive. If this story sounds familiar, if you know someone in a controlling relationship, please stay until the end. This could save a life. May 7th, 2011. A quiet Friday morning in Bournemouth, England. While most people were waking up to start their day, inside one house on Queenswood Avenue, something unspeakable had already happened. 17-year-old Emily Longley lay dead in a bedroom. Beautiful, young, gone. The man sleeping beside her? Her ex-boyfriend, Elliot Turner. And within hours, he would tell a story that nobody believed. This is the story of a girl who had everything to live for, and the man who made sure she never got the chance. Before we continue, if you haven't already, please subscribe and turn on notifications. Stories like Emily's need to be heard, and your support helps us share them. Emily Longley wasn't just another teenager. She was the kind of person who lit up a room the moment she walked in. Born in 1994 in England, she spent part of her childhood in New Zealand before coming back to the UK in 2010 to live with her grandparents in Bournemouth. And Emily? She had dreams. Big ones. She wanted to be a model. She talked about starting her own business one day. She wanted to travel, to see the world, to really live. Her sister Hannah was her best friend. Her grandparents adored her. Her friends couldn't get enough of her energy. She was 17 and just getting started. But in early 2011, Emily's life took a turn when she started dating a guy named Elliot Turner. Elliot was 20, 3 years older than Emily, which felt significant at that age. He came from money. His parents owned a jewelry business, and Elliot made sure everyone knew it. Expensive cars, constant parties, always showing off. But the thing about Elliot? He wasn't who he pretended to be. Friends described him as a wannabe gangster. Someone obsessed with looking tough, with being in control, with getting respect he hadn't earned. And he had a history that should have been a massive red flag. Previous girlfriends had stories. Stories about him being possessive, about him harassing them, even threatening them when they tried to leave. One ex said he couldn't handle her talking to other guys. Another said he completely lost it when she broke up with him. If you're watching this and you recognize these behaviors in someone you know, excessive jealousy, controlling who they talk to, explosive anger when they don't get their way, please keep watching. The warning signs matter. But when Emily met Elliot, she didn't know all of this yet. She just saw the charm, the attention, the gifts and the nice dinners, and the feeling of being wanted. It didn't take long for things to change, though. Elliot started getting jealous, then controlling, then aggressive. He needed to know where Emily was every single minute, who she was with, what they were talking about, who was texting her. If she went out without him, he'd interrogate her about it. If another guy so much as looked at her, Elliot would lose his mind. Emily's friends started pulling her aside, telling her this wasn't normal, that she needed to get away from him. And you know what? She listened. By late April 2011, Emily broke up with Elliot. She'd had enough. She even started seeing someone new, someone who actually treated her well. For a couple of weeks, Emily felt free again, like herself. She thought the worst was behind her. She had no idea what was coming. May 6th, 2011. A Friday night. Emily was out at a nightclub in Bournemouth with her friends, just trying to have a good time. Dancing, laughing, enjoying being 17. But Elliot was there too. And when he saw Emily, when he found out she'd been seeing someone else, he absolutely lost it. Witnesses say he confronted her right there on the dance floor. His voice getting louder, his face red with anger. Emily tried to walk away. She didn't want drama, didn't want to deal with him. But Elliot followed her outside. He started begging, pleading, saying they needed to talk, just one more time, that he deserved closure. And Emily, exhausted and maybe hoping to end this once and for all, made a decision. She agreed to go back to his house. Just to talk, she thought. Just to make things clear and be done with it. This is the moment that changed everything. If you're in a situation where an ex won't leave you alone, where they're begging for one more conversation, please don't go alone. Tell someone where you are. Bring a friend. Trust your instincts. It was around 2 a.m. when they got to Queenswood Avenue. By the time the sun came up, Emily Longley would be dead. The next morning, Elliot's parents walked into their son's bedroom and found Emily's body. She was lying in the bed, fully clothed, not breathing. Elliot was right there beside her. Awake. Calm. Almost too calm. And he already had his story ready. He told his parents that Emily had just stopped breathing during the night. That maybe she'd taken something. Maybe she'd had too much to drink. A tragic accident. But here's the thing. His parents didn't immediately call for help. They didn't call 999 right away. They didn't try to save her. Instead, they started helping Elliot prepare. When police finally arrived and started investigating, red flags were everywhere. Emily had marks on her neck, clear signs of strangulation. Her phone had been tampered with, messages deleted. And Elliot's behavior? Investigators said it felt rehearsed, like he'd been practicing what to say. Within days, police arrested him. And then the evidence started piling up in ways Elliot couldn't explain away. If you're finding this case as disturbing as we did while researching it, please leave a comment below. Let's talk about how we can better recognize these warning signs in our own communities. Text messages he'd sent to friends before Emily died, talking about how angry he was, how he wanted to hurt her, how he was losing control. Search history on his computer. Questions about how to get away with murder. And then came the most damning piece of evidence. Testimony from Elliot's own mother. She admitted that she'd heard them fighting that night. Raised voices, thumping sounds, the noise of a struggle. And she didn't do anything. She heard what was happening in that room, and she went back to bed. When she found Emily's body the next morning, she and her husband didn't call for help immediately. They helped their son clean up. They destroyed evidence. They deleted texts. They chose to protect their son instead of getting justice for a 17-year-old girl who'd been murdered in their house. In 2012, Elliot Turner stood trial for murder. The prosecution laid it out clearly. Elliot strangled Emily in a fit of rage because he couldn't handle her moving on. He couldn't stand the idea of her being with someone else. So he killed her. The defense tried to argue it was an accident, that maybe things got physical, maybe he grabbed her, but he didn't mean for her to die. But the jury wasn't buying it. Not with all the evidence. Not with the texts, the searches, the deleted messages, the cover-up. Not with his history of violence toward women. After weeks of testimony, the verdict came back, guilty of murder. Elliot Turner was sentenced to life in prison with a minimum of 16 years before he could even be considered for parole. His parents were also convicted for helping cover up the crime, for destroying evidence, for choosing their son over the truth. They went to prison too. Justice was served, but it came too late for Emily. If this story moved you, please share this video. Emily's story deserves to be told, and the warning signs deserve to be recognized. Emily Longley should be 30 years old right now. She should have graduated, traveled the world, built the business she dreamed about. She should have had the chance to fall in love with someone who actually loved her back. Instead, her life was stolen by someone who claimed to care about her. Emily's family has spent more than a decade honoring her memory, fighting for awareness around domestic violence, making sure people understand the warning signs. Because this wasn't just some random tragedy. This was a murder that came from jealousy, obsession, and control. The kind of behavior that starts small. A comment here, a demand there, the slow tightening of a grip until you can't breathe. Emily's story is a reminder that those warning signs are real. Controlling behavior isn't love. Jealousy isn't passion. Isolation isn't protection. They're in danger. Emily Longley was 17 years old. She had her whole life ahead of her. And in one violent, senseless moment, it was all taken away. If you or someone you know is in a relationship that feels suffocating, that makes you feel afraid, that involves someone who won't let you leave, please reach out. I've put resources in the description below, including hotlines and organizations that can help. The National Domestic Violence Hotline is available 24/7. You are not alone. Because Emily's story didn't have to end this way. And yours doesn't either. Please, if this video impacted you, hit that like button and subscribe. Share it with someone who might need to hear this message. And most importantly, look out for the people you love. Rest in peace, Emily. I can't believe you're with someone else. You're going to regret this. That text was sent at 2:47 a.m. on May 6th, 2011. Hours later, she was dead. If you've ever received a message like this, if you've ever felt that fear, please keep watching. What happened to Emily could happen to anyone. They say jealousy can make people do terrible things. But what happens when jealousy becomes obsession? When love turns into control? When I can't live without you becomes if I can't have you, nobody can? On May 7th, 2011, 17-year-old Emily Longley was found dead in her ex-boyfriend's bed. He said it was an accident. Police said it was murder. And the truth was darker than anyone could have imagined. Before we dive deeper, please subscribe to this channel. Stories like Emily's need to reach as many people as possible, and your support makes that happen. Emily was the kind of girl people noticed. Confident, stunning, full of life and big dreams. She'd moved back to England from New Zealand in 2010, living with her grandparents in Bournemouth while she chased her ambitions. Modeling, business, the whole world ahead of her. She was close with her sister Hannah, surrounded by friends who loved her. Always smiling, always planning what came next. Then she met Elliot Turner. At first, it probably seemed exciting. He was 20, a bit older. He had money, drove nice cars, and knew how to charm people. But it didn't take long before things started to shift. Elliot wasn't just protective. He was possessive. He didn't just want to know where Emily was. He needed to know. Every minute. Every conversation. If she talked to another guy, he'd explode. If she went out without telling him every detail, he'd interrogate her for hours. Emily's friends started noticing the change. She was walking on eggshells, making excuses for him, slowly pulling away from the people who cared about her. If this sounds like someone you know, if you've watched a friend change because of their partner, please don't ignore it. Comment below if you've experienced this. Your story might help someone else. And when she finally got the courage to leave him in late April 2011, Elliot couldn't accept it. Breaking up with Elliot Turner wasn't like breaking up with a normal boyfriend. He didn't just move on. He spiraled. Text after text. Call after call. He'd show up at places he knew she'd be. He'd message her friends asking about her. He tried everything to manipulate her into coming back. And when Emily started seeing someone new, when she actually started moving on with her life, that's when Elliot became dangerous. Friends later testified that he'd become completely obsessed. He talked about Emily constantly, about how she'd betrayed him, about how she deserved to be punished. One friend even said Elliot joked about killing her. At the time, they thought he was just venting, just angry and hurt. They didn't think he'd actually do it. This is critical. If someone talks about hurting their ex, even as a joke, take it seriously. Report it. Tell someone. Don't assume they're just blowing off steam. May 6, 2011. Emily was at a nightclub in Bournemouth, just trying to enjoy her Friday night with friends. Elliot was there too. And when he saw her, when it really hit him that she'd moved on, something inside him snapped. He confronted her in front of everyone. Angry, desperate, unhinged. Emily tried to leave, tried to get away from the situation. But Elliot followed her outside, started begging her to talk to him, promised it would be civil, that he just needed closure. Just one conversation. That's all. So Emily, exhausted and probably just wanting this whole thing to be over, agreed to go back to his house. It was just after 2 a.m. What happened next was pieced together from forensic evidence, witness statements, and Elliot's own digital trail. Because while he thought he'd gotten away with it, while he thought he'd covered his tracks perfectly, he hadn't. Inside that bedroom, the conversation turned into an argument fast. Emily wanted to leave. Elliot wouldn't let her. And then he lost control completely. Investigators believe Elliot strangled Emily in a rage. His hands around her neck, squeezing until she stopped fighting, until she stopped breathing. When it was over, when he realized what he'd done, Elliot didn't panic. He didn't call for help. He didn't try to save her. He went to sleep. The next morning, his parents found Emily's body in their son's bed. And instead of immediately calling 999, instead of trying to help this 17-year-old girl, they helped their son cover it up. They deleted messages from Emily's phone. They cleaned up the evidence. They coached Elliot on exactly what to say. When police finally arrived, Elliot had his story straight. Emily just stopped breathing. Maybe drugs. Maybe alcohol. A tragic accident, nothing more. But the autopsy told a completely different story. Bruising around her neck. Clear signs of strangulation. No drugs, no alcohol in her system. Emily Longley had been murdered. And every piece of evidence pointed directly at Elliot Turner. If you're still watching, thank you for giving Emily's story the attention it deserves. Please hit that like button. It helps more people see this and understand these warning signs. The trial was devastating. Text messages revealed the depth of Elliot's obsession, the threats he'd made, his complete inability to let Emily go. His computer search history showed he'd looked up how to commit murder and get away with it. Witnesses testified about his history of violence, about how he'd abused previous girlfriends, about his explosive temper. And his own mother admitted she'd heard the struggle that night. The thumping, the sounds of violence. And she'd done nothing. In May 2012, Elliot Turner was found guilty of murder. He was sentenced to life in prison, minimum of 16 years before he could even think about parole. His parents were convicted of perverting the course of justice and sent to prison as well. But for Emily's family, no sentence would ever be enough. Their daughter, their sister, their Emily, she was gone, taken by someone who claimed to love her. Emily Longley's story isn't just another true crime case. It's a warning. Jealousy isn't love. Control isn't care. Obsession isn't devotion. It's dangerous. If someone in your life can't accept your boundaries, if they track your every move, if they make you feel afraid to leave, that's not a relationship. That's a trap. I've linked resources in the description, domestic violence hotlines, safety planning guides, and organizations that can help. Please, if you need them, use them. If you know someone who needs them, share them. Emily deserved to grow old, to chase those dreams, to live the life she'd imagined for herself. And Elliot Turner made sure she never got that chance. Please share this video. Tag someone who needs to see it. Leave a comment honoring Emily's memory. And subscribe so we can continue telling these important stories. Rest in peace, Emily Longley.